As companies diversify their manufacturing capabilities, Southeast Asia and India are emerging as key beneficiaries. To know more about this, we have JLL's Michael Ignatiadis. Michael, what's driving the shift from China to Southeast Asia and India?
I would say there are three trends that are driving this shift. One is reshoring. So that is bringing back sensitive industries back to Europe or the US. And this is driven mainly by specific policies. For example, the Chips and Science Act in the US, which is focusing on bringing back, well, establishing the semicon industry within the US. Then we have nearshoring. So essentially being close to where the end consumer is. And this is done by shifting factories from China to Southeast Asia, India, and Mexico. And Mexico is primarily for the North American market, whereas Southeast Asia and India could be for the global market as well, except for North America. And nearshoring is driven primarily by tit-for-tat economics. We've seen it recently with all the EV tariffs and solar tariffs that have been imposed by the US, and then what is the implication on the China side as well. The third one, and finally, is friendshoring. So that's where relocation happens to countries where we have a good diplomatic relation with.
And then when it comes to investments, which sectors are seeing the most foreign investment?
So the two sectors I see that is more actually the countries itself, the destination countries are trying to attract more incentives, but also we see the bigger size tickets is the EV and battery sector and the semicon electronic sector. So in the EV battery, we have we have countries like Indonesia where due to their natural resources, they're attracting those investors. So Indonesia has almost a quarter of the world reserves of nickel, which is a key component to EV batteries. And we see companies like CATL, this Chinese battery manufacturer, setting up in India, investing $6 billion to develop this end-to-end lithium battery supply chain. And that's attracting the EV automakers themselves. So VinFast, the Vietnamese EV maker, is coming there. And then we have the semicon electronics sector where countries like Vietnam is heavily betting on. So we have already companies like Intel, Samsung, and Foxconn in Vietnam. And what they are trying to do is build that workforce there. So at the moment, there might be around 5,000 engineers working in the top 40 semicon companies in Vietnam. But what they want to do is in the next 5 years, make that 10 times. So have around 50,000 engineers to be able to attract those investments. And similar to Malaysia. Malaysia also are looking at those numbers.
So, Michael, taking everything you've just mentioned into consideration, what global trends do you think will shape where companies choose to set up their manufacturing in the future?
Right. So historically, it was a very much a cost-driven decision. So we had low-cost manufacturing, which that shifted slowly from China to Southeast Asia to potentially to Africa. So that shift is kind of natural, and manufacturers know that if they just follow the cost, they will have to move essentially. But what else is driving we see is geopolitics. So the more we're living in a bipolar world, the more we see tensions and more we see alliances. This will have a definite impact on the manufacturing landscape, and will drive companies to try to build more resilience, and that means more locations around the globe.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your insights, Michael.
Thank you.
Once again, that was Michael Ignatiadis, Asia Pacific Head of Manufacturing Strategy at JLL. For more news, visit manufacturing.asia.